Hello, everyone. It's Psychic Juicy again. And first and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you who have booked a consultation with me. I am honored and privileged to work for you. It doesn't matter how great of a baker you are if nobody's ordering your goods. It doesn't matter how great a surgeon you are if nobody comes to you uh, to be operated on. And the same in my life, if my ability is good and nobody seeks my counsel, then I don't get to use my ability. And I'm certainly honored for anybody that calls me and asks me to share my ability with them and to look into their life and give them some insight. I also, in these days of social distancing and no contact with the outside world, without being covered and masked and gloved. I'd like to let you know if you have a friend or a loved one that you care about, um, now is kind of a reminder to pick up the phone and call them and say, I just called to say hello. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say I'm thinking about you. What you doing today? What are you gonna cook for dinner? What did you have for breakfast? How were your pets? How were your children? How's your family? A text message just doesn't suffice. As far as I'm concerned, a text message is for using when you're just trying to tell somebody some quick information. I'm on my way. I'll be there in a minute. What do you need from the store? That type of thing. A text message does not uh, substitute real conversation, picking up the phone and touching base with someone. So I'm saying that to everyone, including people in my life who think that just sending a text and then wanting a whole conversation through text is being a friend. No, that's not being a friend, and you got it really twisted if you think sending a text saying if you went to the doctor, what happened, how did you do, what did they say. I mean, that's something you pick up the phone and you call a person. That's personal. You're making the social distance even more distant when you use a text for contact that you should have that's closer, like a phone call. And today, I really wanted to answer some of my most asked questions that I always intend to answer and I never get a chance to. Today, I want to answer them. And one of the first ones I have written down, because I've written down a few, is how old were you when you had your first psychic experience? Well, my first psychic experience, I'm going to say I was about 9 years old. I'm pretty sure I was 9. I was actually in an upper room in the home I lived in when I saw the spirit of my dad in complete living color sitting in a chair in a house he had never been to, who he had passed on years before we had ever moved to that home. And I saw him sitting there smiling as he always did. And I was just so excited. And one of the things that I must quote Vice President or former Vice President Joe Biden with is that there will come a time when you think of your dad, you'll have a smile instead of a tear. And today I can actually say, instead of crying when I think of him, I smile of all the good times that we did have together. About 2 years after that, I had a prophetic dream in which I witnessed a robbery in the street, and my aunt was actually being robbed, and I was there. I mean, I could feel the cold. I was outside with no coat. I heard what the robber said. I heard what she said. I was even able to locate her pocketbook after it had been snatched a day later. Um, the second question was your ability encouraged? and embraced. Absolutely not. My ability was not encouraged or embraced by anyone really except my dad, because when I was a little girl, we lived in a building that was haunted, as people would say. There were many, many spirits in the whole building. It was a 5-story building. And I used to see them. Everybody saw them. I mean, I wasn't special, but I told my dad, I see the man, I see the lady. And he said, they live here just like we do. They're not bothering us, and we're not going to bother them. So he was aware they were there, but we were taught to accept it. That was part of life, and which it is, because we're surrounded by people who have passed on all the time. It's just that we don't always see them. The third question was, have you ever seen people who have passed on or ghosts? Obviously, yes, I saw my dad many times. I've seen other people's relatives many times. They're not always moving or walking like we would do in this lifetime. I was actually at a card game once, and I saw a spirit glide across the floor. His feet weren't moving. He just sort of glided across the floor and disappeared into the wall. And when I told my friends who I was playing cards with about the man that just went across the living room, they began to tell me a story about a recent relative that had passed on. And I asked them to show me a photo, and they pulled out a photo album. And without having known who he was, I was able to look in the photo album and pick out his picture, and I was quite correct. He didn't speak, he didn't say anything, he didn't stop, he just seemed to pass by, but the only one who was able to see him was me. Um, can I communicate with the pets or plants? Yes, I can. At times, pets communicate with me. Many plants have communicated with me. Plants are living beings, and they can communicate and carry messages, as well as trees. Also, fairies and elves and all the elementals tend to hang around rocks and trees and plants and things like that. So, I have a very big thing on respecting the environment and nature and animals. I just cannot. The thought of hurting the environment, hurting nature, or hurting an animal is just so foreign to me. I can't even watch those commercials that come on for the ASPCA. I mean, they just seem to take forever to go off and showing all of the little sad faces. Because I was once a sad face. I was a victim of horrific child abuse. And I believe that's why my ability is the way it is. Because what I used to call my invisible helpers, my invisible friends, I still do, would always come closer to me and comfort me when I was being abused. So I believe that's how I came into my ability. Um, Another question I get a lot is your clairvoyance a gift? I don't believe it's a gift. I believe it's an ability, because a gift would mean this is something for you. You are special. I get absolutely no special rewards for being clairvoyant or clairaudient. Um, I suffer all of the tragedies, sometimes worse than the average person. If you had a mirror and could look into my life and see what I've gone through, you'd be like, man, I wouldn't trade places with her for nothing in the world. And I wouldn't either. I would rather not have the ability and have lived, in a loving, nurturing home without being beaten and cursed at and mistreated, and without my birthright being stolen. But that's not the way it went. So I deal with it the way I have it. Am I religious? Absolutely not. Religion was created by men to dominate and control. And if you look throughout history, which I am a historian, if you look in history, every place that was dominated or stolen or controlled was done by religion. Even some of these wars, if you look around the wars in your lifetime, these are religious wars. At the base of the war is religion. And in some cases, you're fighting people and murdering people who are of your religion, just of a different color. They're not the same race you are. So it doesn't matter that they're Muslims, they're not your race as Muslims. So they have to be eliminated. Um, why do I think I have the ability as strong as I do? Again, to repeat myself, is because I was so badly abused. And I was mistreated even as a young adult, even later on into adulthood. Friends were never to be trusted. I always would have people, shady people in my life. They seemed like they meant me well, they treated me nice, they liked me, I liked them, and I was just so anxious to belong, to be part of the group, and to have friends. And then I would find out they're not friends at all, you know, and I would have to let them go. And that's why I find it easy today to cut people out of my life that don't mean me any good. There's no sense in them lingering around, hanging on. Just, goodbye, because this is not a real friendship. And there are people in this world that could never be a real friend to anyone. Um, do I think my ability is hereditary? Um, I don't think it's hereditary. I know of one cousin that I had who had prophetic dreams. And whenever she had a dream, whatever she dreamed always came true. It was pretty much a well known fact that her name was Elizabeth. If she had a dream, everybody listened. Um, and then last but not least, do I have psychic friends? Well, I had a very good psychic friend who now resides in England. She was originally from England. She was the first person who really supported my ability. She understood that I had this ability, and she had a television show in New York. It was a psychic network before they had psychic friends, and it was like a tic tac toe board. And whenever psychics were out, she would always call me and she said, Juicy, come down because you can fill in for so and so. I, of course, didn't work there regularly, but I would fill in and she let me use my ability. But I didn't know how to read tarot cards. And that was what kept me from wanting to do the show. I said, but I don't know how to read tarot cards. Everybody has tarot cards except me. And she said, you don't need tarot cards. You do what you do. And what I used to do was I had a legal pad, and when I would hear the person's voice on the phone, they could see us, but we couldn't see them. I would begin to write the messages and the visions that I got when I was speaking to the person. And it got so good until even when I wasn't there, calls would come into the studio asking for Psychic Juicy, and I would be on my real job. I wouldn't even be there. So that's how I began to know that, hey, I really got something here because I'm getting feedback, and the people like me. They like to hear me speak. They like what I say, and I've also had psychic pets. Yes, I have a psychic pet right now, Shadow. She's very psychic. I've had other psychic pets. Um, Most pets are psychic. You just have to be able to tune in to what they're tuning into. But there are many times that she'll go running into a dark room where I don't see anything, or what could she be chasing, or what is it that she sees? I have no idea, but she sees it nonetheless. She's warned me about people who are not good people to be in business with, and so she's pretty psychic, and I'm pretty proud of her, and I love her dearly. Um, but if you don't think you have an ability, just stay quiet sometimes. I like the early morning. I like the quiet times when spirits come in and speak. You see visions, and you'll hear them without the distraction of a radio or a television, you hear clearly. And I always thank the spirit who came in and gave me the information because I didn't know it before they gave it to me. No, I do not see them most of the time. I just hear them. But it doesn't matter. It's not necessary for me to see them. As long as I can apply the information they give me into my life or the life of someone else, then the information is used. And I appreciate it. I thank them for coming and guiding me on my spiritual path today and every day. And let me get my phone number because I don't even know it by heart. This is a new phone number. And if you'd like a consultation with me, my phone number is 619-499-7798. And you can leave a message with your contact information, and I will definitely get back to you and get a consultation set up for you because I do have an assistant who always helps me out with my calls and my appointments. But because of the social distancing, she's not able to help me now until things get back to the normal way that they used to be. But until then, I look forward to hearing from you and giving you some insight into your life. Thank you. Be blessed. Please be kind to Mother Nature, be kind to animals, the environment, and most of all, be kind to each other. Until next time, bye bye.